Alright guys, I got my A5. I have a lightened valve spring in there, so it's the lighter valve spring from this Tech T paintball kit. The valve is in here, and then I have the second strongest spring from this kit. It's the black colored spring. So there's a black spring in here. And then I have my 12-inch custom products barrel. I taped up the end to there's little holes in this that kind of like let air come out. This is, most of the stuff is for paintball, but I'm not using this for paintball. And it's 685 bore size, and I'm using the little assorted brands of nylon balls. They're pretty much like 680 on the bore size, and I have it hooked up to CO2. It's kind of warm today. It's like 75 right now. I shot this yesterday. Stock out the box, this wasn't taped up. I was using HPA, which mine are not that powerful. They're only 800 psi, which is pretty normal for most HPA tanks. And when I was shooting this, it was getting like 300 on the low end, like 308, and then on upwards of 322 feet per second with these same rounds. So it was like 16 to 17 and a half joules. I want to see if there's any difference, because now I have it on CO2 and I have this taped up, and I have the spring I was using yesterday was that shiny silver spring, which is the weakest spring. So now I have it on the black spring and all this other stuff, which may or may not increase the velocity. So yeah, taped up, CO2 and black spring, which is different than yesterday. So I'm going to start shooting at my box, and I have my chronograph and stuff. Alright, sorry about the glare right here. I tried wiping off the camera, but it didn't really do much. So let's see what this does. 314, 326, 316, 322, 320. This tank is kind of low. 318. It only has about 100 grams of CO2 in it. So I may switch out the tank, but I'm gonna try my heavy spring with a BB to space it out to make more pressure on the spring. So I'll be right back. Alright you guys, I switched out the tank. I feel like since this only has about 100 grams of CO2 out of about 550, it's only about a fifth of the way full, like 20% full. And usually with these, since they're not regulated, the less CO2 that's in here, the less pressure it has. So I put a completely full, like 500 grams, 510 grams CO2 tank on it. This is completely full. Yeah, I'll probably use this to shoot the BB guns or something. And I put the heaviest spring in here. I put one BB in the bolt plug to make up the difference, because that heavy spring from this kit is slightly shorter, but it's a thicker wire. And the black spring I took out is right here. But yeah, I'm gonna use the same ammo, same barrel, and new tank. So see what happens, and the new spring, obviously. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. 364, 364, 366, 362, 360, 364. I'm gonna rapid fire this a couple shots, see if I have a consistent speed. So it went down to like 352, which is still like, I think with this weight of ball, it's like 20 joules or 21. 362, 362, 358. So yeah, it's still hitting. It's hitting hard. Like, it's pretty good for a blowback marker. And then, you know, I have 200 rounds at my disposal. I was kind of thinking of getting a different spring. I ordered some other stuff from Amazon recently, and I added a spring. I don't know if I don't have a way to measure the gauge of this wire, but I ordered a 0.7 millimeter thickness gauge wire for this, and I had to cut it myself to make it fit correctly because it's like a foot long spring. And I'll see if that adds any power to it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I haven't done anything else to this yet. This still has the stock bolt, still has the stock hammer, still has the stock valve, stock O-ring, stock everything. The only thing that's different is obviously this barrel and the lighten valve spring and the heavy drive spring or main spring. So yeah, I'll make more videos of this once I get more springs and all that stuff, but it might be like a week or two. So have a good one. Alright, you guys, I took the tape off. I just want to see if this makes a difference. I took off the tape and I put the black spring in here, and I was using a tank that didn't have a full capacity on the CO2, so the pressure was probably low, but I want to see if there's a difference between what this was performing at with the tape and the low power CO2 tank and the black spring, which was like max hitting like 320 feet per second. And then now this has no tape and a full CO2 tank with the black spring. 330, 342. So it is more powerful. I don't know if that's because of it's probably because of the CO2 tank being topped off. 344. 344. I'm gonna rapid fire this to see how consistent it is. Yeah, I don't know how to make this chronograph not tell me balls per second. But now it's kind of leveling at like 332, 330 when I rapid fire. But when I take my time, 334, maybe the spring was just getting worked in. 340. So yeah, it's kind of staying in with the black spring and no tape and a pretty much full CO2 tank. It was hitting like on the low end like 326 and upwards of 344. And yeah, I don't know how to make that chronograph not show me balls per second, which is the 04 number showing up on the screen. I have the instructions still, but I don't know if I can bypass that. I think it's just kind of built into the software. But yeah, so yeah, I could pretty much, with this kit and with that heavy spring, you can pretty much get like 21 joules or like 22 joules consistently out of it, maybe 20 out of it consistently. When that spring was brand new and I had my stock on here, it was getting about 25 joules. But I think that's because the spring was brand new and it was still like, it had a lot of tension on it. Now I've used it a little bit, not too much, but it has dropped slightly, the output speed. So yeah, I'd say that the A5, the way I have mine right now, I can easily get probably 20 joules or 19 joules out of it. And then I have 200 round capacity. So it's a pretty good option for home defense. Not so much for mobile on the go because it's just big. But yeah, it's a cheap, older paintball gun. Those came out like the mid 2000s, I believe, and they redesigned it. That's a 2010 version. I don't know what year it was manufactured, but because I bought it used. But it is it's It's basically like an old paintball marker from the 2010 era or like mid 2000s. If you have like the old style one, and there's a little bit of differences between the two, mostly in the side of the body where the feeding system is at. On the old style one, they only had one hole, and that one hole was used for the cyclone feed system. That hopper, that jug I have on the side, it has like a rotor in there, and when you pull the trigger, it spins the rotor to feed the next ball. The 2010 model, it has 2 holes on the side. The top hole, the one that doesn't have anything attached to it, this one, you can use it to connect a response trigger, and the response trigger is basically a mechanical way to automatic fire. But I don't know if I'll lose speeds and stuff if I connect that piece. The response trigger, it's like $90, so I'm not sure still if I want to get that, because I could possibly hurt my overall speed, because it's going to be using some of that blowback air to operate the response trigger. But they do make like electronic triggers for it as well. I don't know if they still make them. I think it's discontinued at this point, but they do have like a lot of parts and barrels and accessories and all that still for the A5. They still make it. It's not a discontinued paintball gun, but certain parts are discontinued. So yeah, guys, one other thing I noticed that could be a possible like weak spot on this is when my buttstock broke, I noticed that this basically is holding all the pressure, this pin and this plastic piece, unless I can find like a metal back plate. This may break on me at some point in the future. This is the original stock one. It's only like $9 or something to get a new one, or like $10 or something. And this could possibly be like a weak spot on the Tippmann A5 if you use this for a home defense purpose or as a less lethal alternative. So yeah, the spring is pushing back on this, and every time the hammer comes back from the air that pushes it backwards, it's hitting this basically. And it does have a bumper on it, but I feel like this will probably break at some point, just like my buttstock did. The buttstock that I had, I don't know what brand it is or anything, because when I bought it, it was used and it came with the buttstock. It didn't say what brand it was, but it did not have a bumper on it, this rubber bumper thing. It didn't have this on it. It was just all hard plastic composite or whatever it's called. So yeah, that's just one thing that I noticed with the A5, that this could be an issue durability wise. But like if you're not shooting it at full power all the time, it should be fine. And I typically just, when I make these videos, that's when I'm using these at full power. But usually, like this one specifically, I have the spring out of it and I have it cocked back, because right now the way there's a bolt inside here and it's pressing against the detent. So when this is pressed or like pulled back, when it's cocked, the bolt isn't resting on the detent anymore, but all the pressure is on the spring. And you don't want to leave the pressure on the spring, because then your spring's going to get weak a lot faster than it would if it was not cocked back. So I just take the spring out. So this is cocked back, so the detent isn't getting messed up, and my spring is not getting messed up because there is not a spring in here to mess up. So that's just a couple things I noticed with this. So yeah, pretty much it's a good little thing. I got mine for cheap because I got it used, and luckily everything worked and I didn't have to replace anything in it. So it's a cheap little alternative to buying a M17 or like a TCR or a VKS or whatever. I mean, it's not as powerful as those, but this will get you going and it'll work when you need it, and then you'll have 200 rounds to shoot out of it, because this they make paintball guns with electronic like loaders and stuff, but this is all mechanical. So when the air goes through the this little air line, it forces this to move, and it feeds the next ball. So that was also a reason I bought this, is because I didn't want to worry about batteries dying and stuff, because I already have enough random electronics and scopes and flashlight laser combos and stuff like that that need batteries. So I wanted something that didn't use batteries. And yeah, like I said, I got this used. It was like $130 or something, and then this barrel added $30 to my purchase, and this kit was like $20. You can buy just the valve spring by itself, and you can make your own drive spring. It's a 5mm diameter. So if you can find a 5mm spring and make your own, like just buy them on Amazon. I bought one recently. It was like $6 for a foot long piece, and I have yet to receive it, so I don't know how it's going to perform, but I'd imagine it's pretty similar to like this. But yeah, I'll update you guys when I get that going. So until next time.